Fantastic movie. I think that almost sounds like a dev cause. Am I wrong? But it was very good. Thank you for keeping us entertained. Good morning, everyone. I'll try that again without the echo. Let me speaking too close to the mic. Good morning, everyone. So good to see you. on a very nice gray Monday, my favorite season. I do love the gray weather. I know some people love the sunny side of it, but grateful to be here this morning, and we thank you for making the time. To our guests who are online, we hope you've enjoyed the jazzy beats from the morning from the band. We do apologize that we have started a little bit late, but you're going to have a wonderful time. The team has set up, I think, a wonderful session this morning, and we are quite excited about what we are going to launch today. Even as I invite our first guest, Edwin Mushai, who is the custodian of the bank's C policy and C execution of strategy, I'm going to read something from our report, which is basically from the group and given by the group CEO. And I'm sure this point shall be reiterated with every speaker. Standard Bank's purpose is to drive Africa's growth. And I'm sure you'll hear that again from all the speakers that we have today. We've identified 7 areas in which we believe we can best achieve this purpose while making substantial positive impact on society, the economy, and the environment. The areas are financial inclusion, job creation and enterprise growth, infrastructure, Africa trade and investment, climate change and sustainable finance, education and health. And this really is the purpose for us gathering today, because we do appreciate and we are cognizant that our license for operating does in fact come from the society. And so we are proud today to be submitting a report to society. And with that, I'm going to invite our Chief Risk Officer, Edwin Mushai, to make our opening comments, and thereafter he will invite our Chief Executive. Edwin.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Edwin Mushai, as Angela has mentioned. I'm the Chief Risk Officer of Stanbic Kenya, and I'm also responsible for our social, environmental, and economic strategy in the bank. I have a few written remarks, and I'll start by acknowledging our partners who are present, customers and investors, my colleagues from the bank, members of the fourth estate, the CEO of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Geoffrey. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our launch of the report to society for the year 2020. I'm going to just quickly go through this. I hope you've managed to secure a copy of our report. It provides in great detail some of the information I'm going to take you through briefly. So it's an honor to be here with you today to launch the bank's report to society for the year 2020. Our report highlights the achievements we've made over the year and demonstrates our commitment to strengthening the socio-economic pillars of our country. The report is a clear reflection of the impact we've made on our society, clients, communities, and employees. Looking back to the beginning of the year as a nation, we were all anticipating what 2020 had in store for us. As much as we were grappling with the effects of the pandemic, we remained hopeful that things could be brighter. And as the year drew to a close, we can be proud to say that we've made great strides. So what are some of the socio-economic and environmental initiatives that we were involved in? We see ourselves as a catalyst for economic change. And we see this quality as core to the purpose to develop commercially sound ways to address environmental and social challenges, accelerate economic growth, human development, and make a better life of communities. Our objective is to create shared value, benefiting society while achieving targeted financial returns. Our purpose as an institution is to drive growth And this is anchored on our socio-economic environmental initiatives, which cut across 7 impact areas. And Angie has kind of highlighted those, which are financial inclusion, job creation and enterprise growth, infrastructure, trade and investment, climate change and sustainable finance, education and health. And you will see in your report, I think from page 64 to 68, we have broken down some of those things and some of the achievements we've made in the year that we are reporting. So this report contains an update of the activities that took place in those impact areas. And then I'll kindly now request to bear with me as I go through some of those quickly. So under financial inclusion, what have we done? As I said earlier, we supported economic and human development with the aim of reducing inequalities and providing vulnerable communities with access to affordable finance, product, and services. This is in line with SDG 8 and 10, and we have ensured equal access to financial services, restored economic activities during the pandemic, and some of them are actually highlighted on some of these flashcards, and helped to protect jobs. Most of our projects have been implemented under Stanbic Kenya Foundation, which is run by Pauline. I'm sure some of you will be familiar with some of the work she's doing there, and especially the Accelerate program, which has been instrumental in positioning Kenyan businesses for success. The program has managed to address a significant skill gap in the country and boost entrepreneurship and employability of our citizens through digital literacy and upskilling, career development, access to funding and grants in particular, and job markets. The milestones we've achieved have been as a result of working together with partners in the development space, public and private sector as well. Our focus has been on implementing accessible and affordable digital solutions for entrepreneurs, small businesses because we understand their pain points. In addition to this, we have successfully provided affordable and tailor-made insurance products to help people and business owners cope with life's uncertainties, provided mortgages for affordable housing. We're actually one of the lead banks working in that space, and supported in providing consumer education and financial literacy to help people make informed decisions and choices. So under the pillar of education, job creation, and enterprise development, so we've partnered there with the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development and Microsoft Kenya, and signed an MOU. Most people being Kenyans know what an MOU is, aimed at building resilience with the vulnerable SME sector. Through this partnership, we launched Future New Digital campaign, where individuals and small businesses across the country can get access to digital skills, training at the government Biashara centers facilitated by the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. Through this Future New Digital campaign, we have partnered with various county governments and successfully signed MOUs with Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, Murang'a, Laikipia, Meru, and Nakuru counties. And as a result of that work, we've managed to reach 37,000 individuals and businesses against our target of about 50,000, which is still work in progress. In addition to this, we've partnered with GIZ and UNDP, which has also helped us support SMEs and enhance job creation and enterprise development in the country. All this work is really on SGD 4, 5, 8, and 9. So maybe I should just pause there quickly and just anchor this. So the way we think about the CEAS strategy, it is very core to us as an organization and our strategy. So it is something that is fundamental to how we see our business evolving over the next few years. And our purpose, we've stated that Kenya is our home and we drive her growth. And to make the business sustainable, therefore, we have to be involved in things that matter to Kenyans in general. Under health, which is part of SGD 3, we had a few interventions, which included 1,000 hand washing stations across the country and provision of PPE, which is personal protective equipment units. We collaborated with private sector players to donate 192 oxygen therapy units to the Ministry of Health to strengthen the health system of the country. In addition, we collaborated with the Population Service of Kenya and Tunza Clinic to carry out cancer screening, reached 2,500 women from low-income areas in Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Kiambu, where some of these residents don't have access to affordable health care and therefore tend to stay away given the high cost of access. So far, from these interventions, we've spent about 147 million shillings on health-focused corporate and social investment programs to improve the testing capacity, hospital infrastructure, food donations, and humanitarian support. It is worth mentioning that during the year under the review now, I'm moving on now to infrastructure, trade, and investment. The year under review, there was considerable progress made on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which came into operation in January. With this agreement, we are likely to see a boost in intra-Africa trade, which will facilitate industrialization, employment opportunities, and the competitiveness of African industries. Stanbic Bank has been instrumental in providing import solutions to ensure end-to-end services for Kenyan importers, especially those that do business between Kenya and China. In 2020, we facilitated trade and investment by implementing digital matchmaking to connect our customers to trade opportunities and used the trade suite to manage the logistics arising from the lockdown regulations. We are together with the Africa Trade and Insurance Agency, ATI, working towards transforming export trade in Kenya and the continent. ATI's insurance policies provided a solution which helped us to provide short-term and secured financing for trade through assignment of credit insurance policies, a program of about 1 billion Kenya shillings in that year. Under climate and sustainable finance, as we all know, countries across the world are grappling with the effect of climate change on the environment, food security, and economic growth. As Stanbic Bank, we are committed to driving sustainable and inclusive development through delivery of sustainable financial solutions. In doing so, we are cognizant of the impact of business activities on the society, economy, and environment, and as such, we have incorporated socio-economic and environmental considerations in our corporate strategy. To this end, we are continuously working with government and business to reduce vulnerability towards climate change. We do so by focusing on, one, which is working with our clients to develop appropriate solutions to mitigate and adapt the effects of climate change, providing financial products and services that support positive social and environmental outcomes, including green and social bonds, sustainable trade solutions, and impact investing. And I think if you look at the report, you will see that we issued the first ever green bond and facilitated its listing on the London Stock Exchange. Providing environmental and social lending and advisory experience in regard to project finance, export credit, and corporate finance offerings. We have also progressively managed and shaped our portfolio in a manner that is consistent with achieving a low-carbon, climate-resilient economy required to limit global warming to less than 2 degrees centigrade by supporting a just transition away from non-renewable sources in the bank's countries of operation. Working with our retail banking clients, we adopt greener solutions for their homes and businesses. On sustainable finance, our dedicated team is working continuously to provide a broad portfolio of solutions that range from debt management to advisory and support services. So, as I said earlier, the detail of some of this, the progress we've made is on page 64 to 68 of this report. So as I close, I would like to observe the following. One, as an institution, we are keen to ensuring businesses have access to markets and remain competitive. And we have successfully achieved this by rolling out a number of skills training programs. I mentioned Future in Digital as an example, providing the micro and SME entities with coaches to help them guide them through their journey and provide them with funding to accelerate their businesses to the next level. We are proud to have achieved the above-mentioned key milestones throughout the year with the support from strategic partners and a dedicated team that understands the importance of transforming lives. Driving impact, changing lives, and contributing to the growth of Kenya's economy is what we aim to do. We we aim to achieve in all that we do. We acknowledge that Kenya is our home, and we intend to drive her social and economic growth. I thank you for listening to me, and at this point, I think I'm inviting our Chief Executive to make a few remarks. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Edwin. As I reincarnate myself, we do apologize. Our Chief Executive has run into some technical issues. He had logged in previously, but that connectivity seems to have fallen. So I have the honor of acting as his speech reader, reincarnating myself. But thank you, Edwin. I think you have set the scene of what Stanbic is about, what our focus is, how we've transitioned. I mean, just before I read the speech that I've been given, I keep thinking of when we started banking, and that's not selling my age. Focus was always on commercial and bottom line, but with the move towards, the triple bottom line reporting, it's wonderful to see how financial institutions have moved, and a lot of the focus is now on shared values. So please allow me to read on behalf of our Chief Executive of Stanbic Bank Kenya, Mr. Charles Mudiwa. With due acknowledgement to the Stanbic board members who are present, our partners, our esteemed customers and investors, representatives from the Stanbic Bank Kenya family, of course the members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is great to see you all this morning, albeit virtually for some. Thank you for joining us today as we release our report to society for the year 2020. The report outlines how we are creating long-term impact for our society and also reflects the role we continue to play in influencing the economic change in the spheres that we operate in. In delivering on societal transformation, we are mainly driven by our purpose. Kenya is our home, we drive her growth. To establish commercially sound ways to tackle environmental and social challenges while catalyzing economic growth and human development. Even as we endeavor to realize financial returns, our main aim is actually to create shared value with our clients, our employees, our stakeholders, shareholders, and indeed society. We focus on our 7 areas of social, economic, environmental parameters, which Edwin did speak to. Our efforts are largely been aligned to the United Nations Sustainable Goals, the UN SDGs, as well as the United Nations Principles for Responsible Banking and the Africa Union's Agenda of 2063. So which are these 7 areas of impact? As you delve into the report, you will notice that our focus continues to be on 7 key areas: financial inclusion, job creation and enterprise growth, infrastructure, trade and investment, climate change, and sustainable finance, education and health. And we'll be speaking to this, I think, through Wanja and testimonials that we have. This approach has given us an opportunity to impact the lives of our community, and we are proud of the progress made so far in this transformational journey. The trilemma in Kenya is what we have faced. Even as we take stock of the positive impact of the bank has achieved in 2020, it is critical to mention that it was a tough year, with Kenya facing what we call the trilemma. COVID pandemic, the infestation of locusts and floods brought about by extreme weather conditions has been what we have faced. Given that agriculture accounts for approximately 65% of export earnings and 57% of our GDP, the locust invasion did indeed threaten a significant portion of our economy, and so did the pandemic. But looking back at the steps we made to surmount these challenges, I would say it took determination, resilience, adoption of innovation, and effective solutioning to pull through. In overcoming these challenges, we adopted a 3-pronged approach in the market: responding, restoring, and now rebounding. As an institution, we have adopted our response to suit the prevailing situation, continuing to support our clients and our economy to recover from the effects of the pandemic, and aligning our operations, infrastructure, and resources to become more human. Our priorities will ensure the health, safety, well-being of our employees, and by extension, our loved ones, and most importantly, our customers. Caring for among our employees has become a dominant feature of our operations during the pandemic. To keep our essential service workforce safe, extensive personal protective equipment and special transport was indeed provided. We spent over 7.8 million Kenya shillings on protective gear and catered for the cost of testing and treating COVID-19 cases for our people and their dependents. It is worth mentioning that we are the first bank in the country to restructure loans and issue moratoriums to our customers, which included repayment holidays to over 7,000 clients. These restructured loans were worth about 40 billion Kenya shillings, of which 3.1 billion went towards SMEs. Having lowered interest rates as per regulations, we are able to save our clients approximately 665 million Kenya shillings in interest expenses. Allow me to emphasize that our rebound has enabled us to maintain our year-on-year financial performance, increase customer numbers, and also nurture an ongoing relationship with our partners, further contributing to our growth and resilience. With the hardest hit sectors being manufacturing, trade, real estate, agriculture, education, and transportation, Stanbic Bank is one of the participating financial institutions in the 3 billion Kenya shilling stabilization facility set up by the Kenya government. During this period under review, we have been extending credit to SMEs to be utilized as working capital facilities, acquisition funding for their assets, and really to assist them with their recovery efforts from the pandemic. As a business, we reckon the major contribution played by micro and small enterprises is achieving inclusive growth in Kenya, as this segment accounts for about 24% of our country's GDP. In 2020, we joined hands with the United States Africa Development Fund, and we're in the process, we're able to provide MSMEs, cooperatives, and producer groups in the country with access to affordable financing and access to markets, while also exposing them to digital technologies. In total, Kenya shillings 1 billion was jointly provided with USAID targeted towards these MSMEs, and which are managed legally and legally registered in Kenya. So far, under the partnership with USAID, we have provided about 33 million grant fund to these segments to help grow their business. Further, we went on to form other partnerships with the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade, Enterprise, county governments, Microsoft, GIZ, and UNDP to support SMEs and enhance job creation and enterprise development in the country. Under the partnership with the government, the bank, Stanbic Foundation, under the able leadership of Pauline, who you'll be meeting shortly, signed off a memorandum of understanding with 5 counties, which Edwin mentioned earlier. Our effort further reinforces our purpose, which is Kenya is our home, and we do indeed drive our growth. Our partnership is anchored on the Accelerate program, which our CRO also referred to, that seeks to position Kenyan businesses for success. The program addresses a significant skill gap in the country by boosting employability of citizens through digital upskilling and providing funding and access to the job markets. Facilitating of our infrastructure development is also key. Further building on to what I have highlighted above, in regards to how we stepped in to support our people in mitigating the effects of the pandemic, we have successfully delivered Kenya's first ever 5.7 billion green bond through our client Econ Holding, which is purposed to build environmentally friendly student accommodation. This accommodation will be instrumental in achieving low operational costs, low carbon impact, and have low carbon impact in the long term. We have also facilitated infrastructure development by enabling the Nairobi Expressway Consortium meet their financial obligations through provision of bank guarantees. In addition to the above projects, we continue providing lending facilities to organizations operating in major infrastructure subsectors. As a major player in the financial sector, we will continue to work with governments, development partners, and other commercial banks to provide solutions geared towards addressing Kenya's infrastructure gap. In delivering our above-mentioned strategic achievements, we have been able to drive sustainable and inclusive development through provision of sustainable financing solutions. Towards this end, the bank has a dedicated sustainable finance team that provides product solutions such as debt management and support services. We strongly believe that sustainable financing can help Kenya to recover from the pandemic while encouraging investment in the green economy. As you are all aware, globally we have been experiencing increased heat, drought, declining water supplies, reduced agricultural yields, and flooding. In supporting climate mitigation efforts, we have committed to working with governments and businesses while championing and facilitating development of renewable sources of energy and in an efficient manner. All this requires concerted effort, and from where we sit as Stanbic, we are optimistic that if the trend continues, Kenya will in the near future be well positioned to become a key player in global sustainable financial markets. In closing, it is therefore my desire that together with our partners, we will continue to grow our people through sustainable development. I take this opportunity to wish you a happy holiday season, full of peace, joy, happiness with your families and your friends. Please continue to keep yourselves safe and your loved ones as well during this festive season, as COVID virus still does exist. And with those words, I would like to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to presenting a more impactful report in the future. Thank you very much. So, on behalf of the Chief Executive, Mr. Charles Mudiwe, I will now welcome Pauline to come on stage. Pauline heads up our foundation and has been working with Edwin to drive a lot of our strategy around sustainability. And so I will invite her to introduce our next set of guests.
Good morning, everyone. I'll begin with acknowledging our board members listening to us online and those here present, our stakeholders, including the CEO of the Stock Exchange, and my colleagues from the bank, our customers. Welcome and thanks for joining us. I think my work is going to be very easy. It's very easy for us to give our own story, but it'd also be very good if we can hear one of our customers giving a testimony of how they experience the bank. So before we get to the detail of the impact and what we've covered, I'd like to invite to the podium our customer, Lamek. If you can come to the podium and tell us how Stanbic came through for you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Let me share a story, and this is a true story. This first story is not about Stanbic. It's a story about two ladies. One lady, she got a perfume, an expensive bottle of perfume, from her boyfriend, and she didn't know how to use it. So she called her best friend and asked her, what do I do with this bottle of perfume? And the friend told her, you wear perfume whenever you want to be kissed. And she was so grateful, and she went back home. Did she wear perfume? What happened after? I don't know. That's all we know about the story. So that's a famous quote by Coco Chanel, the founder of the Chanel brand. My name is Lamek Mwanthi. I'm with a company called His and Her Scents, and we are importers of perfume and other beauty and personal care products. We've been with Stanbic Bank for about 8 years, and I initially started business banking with Stanbic because I enjoyed the services we were getting through our church, who also bank with Stanbic. And one of the painful processes for any business is when you need finance, and you have to go through applications and applications, and sometimes they turn you down, or when you're actually qualified, you won't have collateral to secure the facility. So for our business, we approached Stanbic, and I was ready with, I think, my car and my mom's car for security. So my business banker then, a sharp gentleman called Eric Were, told me, Lamek, let me look at your account. We'll get back to you in 48 hours. He indeed got back to me within 48 hours, offered me way more than we needed, and he told me, this is unsecured. I don't need your cars or your mom's car. And we've seen success that product, maybe for 2, 3, 4 times now. Last year, for our business and many other businesses, it was a tough time because of COVID. And most of our customers, including you guys, didn't buy as much perfume and personal care products as you usually do. With folks working from home, you just need to wake up, take a shower, and probably not wear perfume, so your bottles would last much, much longer. So our business dipped. And before we could even figure out what we're going to do, because I was sure we were going to default on our loan, the bank reached out and offered a repayment holiday. I didn't even know that was coming, so it was such a pleasant surprise. And not only was it for 3 months, they extended it for up to 6 months. Since we didn't have to pay this loan, we thought, and we're not selling as much perfume, we thought, well, what do we do to boost our business through this period? And we thought, well, it's against the law for people not to wear masks now. So we reached out to the bank and said, we think we can sell a bit of masks. Masks are part of personal care now. And they were able to connect us to some good suppliers from China, and we began to import masks. And last year, when most businesses really dipped and had their turnovers go down, our business actually grew. So we believe that we've been fortunate, and Stanbic has been more than a bank. They've been a partner, really rooting for us and rooting for our success. We've benefited not just from banking, but also from when the bank invests in training for us. We've had a nice business strategy training at Strathmore, courtesy of the bank. And in addition to the unsecured facility that we now enjoy on an ongoing basis, one of the other really sleek products we enjoy is the e-market trader platform. Considering that we import products often, one of the calls that becomes very redundant is every other day having to call your banker and ask for rate. Nisaidie na rate mzuri, nataka kununua dola, nisaidie na rate mzuri, natuma pesa China. We no longer have to do that. Through e-market trader, I'm able to go online, most times just on my phone at home, reserve a good rate, and actually pay my suppliers via online banking. So I think that's really cool. So I look forward to what the future has in store, and we thank God for our partnership with Stanbic. Asanteni, and good morning.
Thanks, Lamek. And listening to your observation about perfumes, I'm looking at all the men in the room and wondering what they were doing during the pandemic. I would think that would have been an ideal gift to brighten the home, but well done, and we wish you all the best in the next year. And Valentine's is coming up, so I'm sure there'll be an uptick. I've done your marketing for you. So I'm going to invite our head of business and commercial, Madam Florence Wanja, to give us her experience as the custodian of this very critical segment in meeting our C objectives and really driving our SDG initiatives in the bank. So Florence, please come.
I would like to acknowledge our guests, CEO, NSC, Geoffrey Odundo, our directors, our customers, staff of Stanbic Bank present here, and also those joining us online. Good morning, everyone. My name is Florence Wanja. I look after business and commercial clients, and I'm glad that Bonalamek has already done half of my speech. So I think with that, there isn't that much for me to say. But I think for me, I just wanted to just highlight a few things just around how we are supporting our customers. I like to look at SME businesses as small businesses with big impact. When you look at most of the countries, you find that MSMEs actually contribute significantly to the GDP. You'll find ratios of anything between 30 to 40% in terms of the contribution to GDP. When it comes to employment, it's 50% of employment is from MSMEs. And also we find that they actually represent over 90% of businesses in most countries actually. So when we say we are partnering for growth in Kenya, we cannot be partnering for growth unless we're supporting the SMEs. And that's where businesses like Lamex sit in. When we come to looking at the challenges that SMEs face, some of the key challenges, and these have been there even way before COVID, one was lack of financial services. The other one was the access to markets for goods and services. Then we find that there's a huge need for financial literacy as well, and access to information. And then, of course, as the world continues to change and as we go digital, there's a lot more need for some of these businesses to start to digitize. And you can imagine what happened when COVID came. When COVID came, it just amplified the challenges that SMEs were facing. And as a bank, we had to respond to each of those challenges. And this meant going over and above what we were already doing, because COVID did set up new dynamics, which we had to respond to. So when you look at just what Lamek has just amplified, the issue around moratoriums was a big one for us. We had to support our businesses, give them at least a window to recover, because as a bank, we see ourselves having a bigger need. Over and above being commercial, we do need to be empathetic to our customers. And we had to come in and see how we support these businesses by enabling them and easing the pressure, especially after lockdown, when we saw most of these businesses not being able to continue to transact as they had. And in this, from an SME point of view, we extended moratoriums of over 3 billion to SMEs, but total bank, our moratoriums were in excess of 40 billion. And this actually entailed about 7,000 plus customers that we extended moratoriums to, as well as the repayment holidays. The other thing we also had to do was when the directive came from central bank around cash transactions, we also had to extend services so that we enable our customers to respond and to be able to transact digitally. This meant we had to respond very quickly by enabling most of our customers to have access to digital services. And this also had to call for us to be a lot more innovative, because we had seen quite a bit of a push towards digitization, particularly on the formal businesses, but on the SME side, we had to see how we actually support these businesses so that they could be able to transact digitally. And I'm pleased to say that at least currently over 80% of our transactions are being transacted digitally, which was a big shift. Now, when it comes to financial services and especially access to finance, we had to also look at this differently, because remember, most of these businesses were not transacting normally. They were impacted. Customers were not really having as much cash. And this is where partnership with the Stanbic Foundation came in, and we had to look for other ways to support these businesses. And I think Edwin did mention some of the initiatives around partnerships with the USADF, where we were able to basically roll out our grant funding program. We also partnered with other partners so that we could be able to provide catalytic funding for these enterprises, so that we could give them money that they didn't have to pay commercially and commercial rates, so that they were able to inject capital to enable them to go through that recovery process. And I think that we've seen ourselves, especially in partnership with the counties, coming in very strongly to support the small enterprises who were completely wiped out during COVID. The other piece also we had to, and this more speaks to the challenge around access to markets. With the lockdowns, we also saw most of our traders, most of them used to get onto flights and go to China. But with the lockdown, that meant travel wasn't accessible. And with this, again, we had to think differently and came up with solutions where we could enable our customers to access over 10,000 suppliers from China under what we call the Africa-China agent proposition. And this we were able to enable most of our customers continue to source their supplies from China without having to travel to China. And again, we saw this having a huge impact on our businesses, because we were able to continue to have the supplies they required even during that time of COVID. From a training point of view, again, as we were going digital, we did need to have to equip most of our MSMEs with digital skills, and this is where the partnership with Microsoft came in, dubbed Future Need Digital. And here again, we equip most of our customers to actually acquire digital skills. And this was important as well, because it also played a big part in terms of giving access to markets, because again, trading used to be physical, where you go to a shop or to a market. But with COVID, we had to enable most of our customers to to trade and have their shops in a digital way, accessible in a digital way. And again, with this, we also did partner with other partners, and were able to give our customers access and training so that they were able to place their businesses online on Facebook and other channels that are available to enable them to to move towards e-commerce. So all in all, and I know Lamek did say he's looking forward to the future. We continue to innovate. We continue to see how we'll support our businesses. One of the things that we are currently just about to roll out is access to digital loans for MSMEs. So the loans we've been accessing without security and without having to provide so much, information, where we just look at your account turnover and transactions coming through the bank, will enable this digitally, so that at the comfort of your business, you're able to actually access that loan digitally, and that also will basically facilitate your business with much ease, because then you don't even have to go to the bank to access some of these services. So for me, I think it's just to completely thank the foundation, because with the Stanbic Foundation, we've been able to do much more and be more than a bank, including offering other services, including the wellness programs that we're able to offer some of our businesses, and really looking forward to even doing more for our customers. And again, we continue to innovate and looking at opportunities as they come, and the engagements with the customers as well give us that opportunity. So hoping that we'll continue to support and be relevant even as we look forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Florence Wanja, custodian of our business and commercial clients, very important for the execution of our sustainable strategy. So I think we are coming to the big moment, and as I probably give my thanks for the honor of hosting, I'll invite Pauline to come on stage. So as I started when we commenced this session, it's has been interesting to see the transformation of corporates from being purely commercial and them appreciating that, in fact, the value and shared value is quite a critical component of what we do and how we do it. So I'd like to thank you all, even as I invite Pauline to take us through the next stage, which is really the unveiling of the actual report, and she will guide us through this process. Thank you very much, and have a good morning and day.
Thanks, Angie. So we are to the second section of our program, which is unveiling the report to society. But before we do that, what I really wanted to highlight, now that we have a key stakeholder, Mr. Geoffrey Odundo, as one of our guests, is that we've said a lot about what happened in 2020. We've looked at the trilemma that gave us the context, the locust, the drought, and COVID-19. And then with that context, I think our colleagues, including our customer, has mentioned how we responded. So we had a strategy that we used to call the 3 Rs. How do we respond to the crisis that we have? How do we help the businesses restore? And then how do we rebound? So as we move to the future, what are we saying? What we are saying is that the bank is all about shared value. The bank is all about partnerships. So what we've been doing this year is really setting the ground. We've gone ahead and partnered with the government, a very, very strategic partnership there. We chose the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development because it covers 3 things that are crucial for the growth of the Kenyan economy and also for the SMEs we support. So it covers trade, and I think Lamek has given us a very good insight. He was selling perfumes. All of a sudden there is COVID. Coming to the bank, he's introduced to the China proposition. He's able to start importing masks. So that's the kind of partnership we are looking at with our customers. Now, the second piece we're also looking at is the issue of trade. And again, what are we looking at for SMEs? The national government is dealing with a lot of trade discussions at the moment. There is the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. There is an economic partnership agreement with the UK. So what we are trying to do, working very closely with the bank colleagues, is how do we align our SMEs to take advantages of this trade? So the third part, of course, industrialization. A lot of SMEs are actually working with and supporting and suppliers of government. How do we bring up these SMEs to be able to supply to government and even beyond government to our corporate clientele? So we believe the bank sits with quite a number of assets that can be worked to support the whole narrative of SMEs, and that's a part of our rebound strategy. So as we move forward, before we unveil, what are the areas we are going to focus on for impact? Financial inclusion and job creation is big for us, and we believe our lever for this is going to be the SMEs. Trade and infrastructure is also crucial, and here we have very interesting propositions working with the colleagues in the bank on the Africa Free Trade, on the China-Africa corridor. Then we have climate change. How do you support SMEs in the agricultural space, respond to issues climate? And this is what has led us to partner with counties. So we've so far selected 7 counties, very much aligning with the national agenda, the priority countries of government, where we are rolling out certain solutions to SMEs in the agricultural space. We are under our Accelerate program, we are introducing a lot of capacity building for these SMEs. We are also introducing grants. We are also introducing revolving credit for the SMEs. And we start at grassroots level, and then we expand as we get more partners. Then education, a crucial one, and I think my colleagues have mentioned here. We have a very strategic partnership with Microsoft because Microsoft is Microsoft, and they've been availing a lot of tools for us. And we've been rolling this out under our Future Need Digital. It has a lot of skills from basic computer literacy all the way to advanced coding and artificial intelligence. What are we doing as a bank? Essentially saying, because the bank is going digital, we want to take the Kenyan community along. So we've been training, and I'll give you 2 examples. We've trained SMEs, youth and women in counties where we have now ICT for agriculture. We've actually got about over 45,000 people trained on the Future Need Digital. And essentially what it has is ICT for agriculture, ICT for youth, and ICT for SMEs. So we take different modules of what we have on that platform and tailor-make that to suit the needs of the SMEs. What are we seeing? With the youth, we are seeing the emergence of what we call digital entrepreneurs. So I was previously at the university, I don't have a job. Stanbic has come and introduced a program I am now able to code for companies in Australia, and I'm earning $4,000. So there are different ways that we believe the Kenyan community can benefit from jobs. Now, in conclusion, what are we saying? As we move forward, we are going to be very big on those 4 areas. We are seeking partnerships that will now create this whole pipeline or continuum of SMEs. Through our Accelerate program, we are going to provide 4 things. The first one is access to finance, affordable credit, essentially saying that the SMEs who've been excluded from the commercial mainstream. How do you bring them in? So we are introducing different things there to be able to create a pipeline. The second thing is, of course, capacity building, and a lot of it very much tailored to the needs of customers like Lamek, who want to grow their business. So we are looking at SMEs at different stages. Early stage SMEs, growth-oriented SMEs, and SMEs that are looking at new markets like exporting to other countries. And then we tailor-make programs for them. And then we are looking at a very interesting group of micro-enterprises. Again, if you forget that, then deal with the rest you can't. And here we are working very, very closely with the government. Access to markets is also going to be big for us in the next year. It's an area we believe will create a lot of impact. Access to markets for us is at 3 fronts. How do you help SMEs access markets from the corporate clientele that we have in Kenya? A lot of SMEs are trying to supply or are supplying to the corporate clientele. If you look, for example, at our large retail restaurants, such as Movenpick, for example, where we are today, you can increase the suppliers of different products that we are eating. How do you help the SME supplying to these hotels create better quality products and then supply? And we believe Stanbic has a very big asset of this corporate clientele, so we want to work that asset. The second thing we are looking at access to markets is the trade corridors. How do we introduce our different SMEs to the trade corridors? And then the third thing on access to markets is the digital marketing. How do you introduce them to online markets and a few others? And then, of course, how do you link them up to the other products that the bank has, for example, the China proposition and all, where at the comfort of your desk, you're actually able to be introduced to an external market and you import your product or sell your product. Then education is so it's access to markets, access to affordable credit, and then education, capacity building. The fourth area which we've started working on is influencing policy. We are getting a lot of learnings on the ground as we engage at the grassroots level. What are these learnings and how do we then engage? So we believe as a partner, as a bank, we are living to our principles. As a Kenyan company that believes Kenya is our home, we want to partner for growth. We are looking for partnerships such as that with the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and I'm sure we do have some alignment there. And I'm going to request Chief Risk Officer Edwin to request the CEO of the Stock Exchange to come and help us unveil our report, and also to cement that we will be working and seeking a partnership with the Stock Exchange as we move forward. Edwin. So we're ambushing our guest to actually say one or two words about what his experience with Stanbic is. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the top leadership of Stanbic, led by Charles, the CRO, and your foundation team, head of business, head of investor relations, head of marketing. I think this is a very strong showing. I was actually asking CRO, what is the ratio of male to female in this place? Because I can see quite a good number of them here today. And he shocked me that at senior leadership, it's 10 out of 15 EXCO, which is awesome. I think you must be the leading listed company in terms of that sort of ratio. And that's a big one for us at the NSC. We are really focused on diversity, so I think you deserve a clap. I really like the heading of the report, Report to Society. It's the first time I'm hearing of that. I think Priscilla told me it stands out, it really positions you differently. But this is something we really encourage at the NSC. Last week on Monday, we launched the ESG governance manual, and the whole essence is to encourage companies to adopt this, use that as a framework for improving their governance, environmental and social objectives. A lot of them complain it's very expensive to do it, so let's give a document that allows you to have voluntary compliance well in advance of regulations that might come later. But I think as Stanbic, you seem to have really positioned yourselves as a responsible organization. I like the 3 R's that you've taken, speaks very well, how you've taken the 7 pillars and mapped them to the SDG goals, and you're doing something very practical about it. Hearing about what you've done on the incubator, listening to a story about the perfume business and where you've come from. I've not heard of a bank connecting clients to other opportunities. That's a new one, but that's something that I think is going to really take this organization forward. So for us as NSC, we are happy to see our listed companies do this. As you said, it's no longer just about the bottom line, but it's about the triple aspects of the business, how you respond to your community, how you strengthen the governance of the institution, and then how do you make your profit. So it really should be purpose-driven, and I think you're doing a very good job as a team. So we are happy to see this happening and really, really encourage you. Now on partnerships, that's a big pillar for us as the NSC. It's our second pillar in our strategic plan. We're looking for partners. So we have an incubation program for SMEs, and we think this is one area that we can partner. We want to partner with you on issues of diversity, inclusion, financial inclusion, capacity building for Kenyan people. We have a very strong digital academy as well, and all other areas around sustainability. This is a big area for us. So you pick what you have, engage with us, and I believe we'll form some very good opportunities to work together. So I think I was told breakfast was not free. I think I've done my part. But congratulations again, Stanbic, for this sustainability report, and we wish you well and look forward to the 2021 report next year. Appreciate it. God bless you all.
So thank you very much. Geoffrey, we'll be coming to you on the partnerships, and you've given us the broad areas. So I think now we are at the final stage of the session, and it is really just giving the vote of thanks. I would like first to give a vote of thanks to our partners, and in this respect, our key customers, Lamek and the colleagues there, our stakeholders, our board members. I'd also like to give a vote of thanks to our colleagues in the bank. I can see the branch managers and fellow colleagues at Stanbic. Those that are also watching online, thank you very much. Our chief executive, of course, is not forgotten. Thank you, Charles, for all the support and the steer. And then the fellows of media, thanks for putting this together. We are working with you on this journey. I think you've been giving Stanbic a lot of publicity. There is a lot more we are doing in terms of touching the Kenyan society, and thank you for walking this journey with us. I did say our customers, again represented here by Lamek, and the organizers of this event, the marketing team led by Toko. Thank you very much for your team, for the efforts behind the scenes to get this done. And of course, Angie, you've done a great job. Edwin, we couldn't have done this without you. I think as the Chief Risk Officer handling this portfolio, you've made a difference in a very, very short time. And we continue to work together to make this to be seen as we are being seen as a very responsible bank. Wanja, we can't do without BCC. I believe that's where the real impact sits in the bank. Thanks a lot. And Catherine, as always. Faith, I think I'll mention all of you. Esther, Mudhoni, I think the whole team, Trixie, thanks for the support as always. I think together we are changing this narrative. So let's continue working together. Asanteni sana. Breakfast is now served. Priscilla, thanks. Thank you so much. We now have some work to do. Thank you.